was a bit rough.
Lads!
See those blokes out there? Those are Manchester United supporters.
How dare those twats show up here?
You delay them, I promise I'll burn your school down for you.
Hey, what? Come on. Oi, lads.
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Hello, Bartek. How are you doing?
Doing all right, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm feeling invigorated. I think that we have kind of gone back in time, in a way. We'll talk about the movie, of course, but we have a certain movie on today's episode that feels like we've traveled back into an old era of our podcast, where we're talking about unappreciated masterpieces, kind of raunchy.
Oh, okay, so we're going to be positive this episode.
Comedy affairs. Not to get too hard into it, but this feels like it could have been a contender. If we weren't already doing the podcast, if we weren't like trying to not do too many new movies at the time, this could have been one in which we had to sit down and said, Ryan, could this be?
It does warm my heart that in this year, the year of the films that came out during the time that we've been doing the podcast, it is nice to know that unappreciated masterpieces contenders were still being made and released.
They are always being made, they're always being released, and they'll always be. I don't think they'll ever fade. I don't think there'll be a time where we say, 2026 was the year where there was no unappreciated masterpieces.
Yeah. Remember back when some films weren't loved?
Yeah, remember back in the day? But not all of them are cult classics either, so gotta remember that. But let's get real, let's get serious. I'm Ryan, that's Bartek. We are the hosts of Spit and Polish, the podcast in which two spitting young gentlemen, yes, still young, still gentlemen, even with the movie we're about to discuss today, we are gentlemen. It actually adds irony to the whole affair.
And we're Polish.
And we are both Polish, which somehow did not get brought up in the film, any Polish stuff. Not that I can recall. There was no they went globe hopping in such ways, but they didn't have like a Polish joke in there.
That's true. I guess the English flag has the same colors as the Polish flag.
So does Japan. So
damn.
So do we call
both of Poland's friends in World War II?
Equal playing field. No, we are here to do a Pictures Powwow in which we talk about a movie that has come recommended. Bartek recommended the film today, that is Grimsby, and at the end of this episode, it will be my turn to recommend a film that will be covered in the next episode, and then after that, it is you, the listening people, that recommend a movie. We have our turns, we make sure everyone gets a shot. If you have a suggestion for a movie, make sure to contact us. All of our stuff is in the description below. We are, Bartek already said it, but we are going through a bit of a theme with trying to cover movies that have come out since this podcast has started. So from 2015 up till today. I mean, somehow, what happens if someone recommends a movie that came out last week, Bartek? Will we have to go to the cinema?
The one that you saw with Rachel recently.
The drama?
Yeah.
Why not? That would be an awesome movie that has so many characters you would love.
Well, I'm going to wait till the end of this episode to hear what you're recommending.
Oh, okay.
By the way, I love that in the middle of the explanation you just said what the film that we're doing today is.
Yeah, why not?
Like, give it its glory now. Let's just say it.
Let's just say Grimsby, or The Brothers Grimsby, from the year 2016, right?
Yeah, that was the first year where we did a full year.
And it's relevant to the movie that it's set in 2016 because some political figures get some shots taken at them, and boy, did we choose a correct time to watch this because it's somehow still relevant. So there you go. What did Sacha Baron Cohen know, and how did he know it? But I just said it. This is a Sacha Baron Cohen movie. How would you pitch Grimsby / The Brothers Grimsby? Because in countries it's called that for some reason. Yeah. I guess they don't know the Grimsby's a place.
What title are we going with for
Grimsby?
The release? Just Grimsby,
all
right.
We're going the proper title.
Sure. So this one is a Sacha Baron Cohen comedy film. It's one of the scripted ones. It's not a mockumentary style. And
all actors in it.
All actors and people pretending to be actors. Like Daniel
weirdly.
Radcliffe.
And photos of politicians that are grafted onto people's faces because they couldn't get lookalikes for that for some reason.
Yep. So this one is about, Sacha Baron Cohen plays a typical working class British soccer hooligan type character who has a long lost brother, his little brother that he loves dearly and is still hopeful that he'll see him one day, even though it's been 28 years. Meanwhile, the brother is actually an MI6 agent who's like, full James Bond, like action hero kind of guy.
He's working with Jason Isaacs from the Tuxedo, basically.
Yes. And they happen to cross paths and, the hijinks ensue of like him, Sacha Baron Cohen's character getting his brother into trouble and being on the run. So he's like, a rogue agent.
But they still have to solve the terrorist plot
Yeah,
at the center of it all.
he's still committed to his MI6 mission. So he has to not only like evade his old people, but also still solve this case that he was in the middle of.
Yeah, and that is Grimsby. It is a lot. It has a lot of that gross out, over the top, risque, provocative humor that you can come to expect from Sacha Baron Cohen. Something to note as well with the movie is it's also an action movie. You hear that premise that Bartek said, and you could say, well, obviously, Ryan, it's like a spy movie. That's a given. But when you have a comedy film that plays with this, that may not always be the case. Like the Johnny English films, they have some action in them, but you would not say that they are action films themselves. But this one very much is, because the director, Louis Leterrier, he is an action director. He did the Transporter movies, the Jason Statham action films that I have talked in the past about when we did The Meg. I said, the Jason Statham movies, the Transporter films, those are like fun. They're not like high art or anything, but they're stylish, they're glossy, they're very, action-led, and they have a machismo, silly man in the center of it. And I raised that up top too, because it may, put things into your mind a bit more clearly when you watch it. Because to get into the history with this, I was aware of this movie when it came out, but I had no interest in seeing it. And then I had a version of this movie in my mind of what I expected it to be, and it did not live up to that. So in terms of history, I didn't see this because I'm done with Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm done with him. I love Ali G, I love Borat, Bruno, those are fun times. But when it comes to his scripted work, when it comes to his traditional films, we've already done Ali G into House.
Yep.
I don't like it. I think he's a poor script writer. I think he's not very good at when he's confined into the narrative world. He is a master at making narratives come from real life situations he has thrown himself into. It is. I will not deny there's no one else who does it like him.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, at least in movie form.
Yeah, Borat, the Bruno movie, and Borat 2. Those are his best stuff.
And that other show that he did that you liked as well.
And Who is America is very good.
Which I've still been meaning to check that one out. I'm more interested in that than Borat 2 personally.
I think it's better than Borat 2, yeah.
But I cannot stand how weak his work is when he's not playing in that field as a writing force, because I think he's a magnificent actor. I've enjoyed him as a performer in so many movies, but when he's left to his own devices playing in typical movie making format, not my cup of tea. The Dictator, I detested, loathed, thought was piss poor, and a part of it is I had an idea of what the movie would be, and then the movie wasn't that, and I'm like, am I holding it too high of a standard? But then it's like, he himself does that. He himself will go on these press junket tours where he makes more interesting material than the movie he's promoting.
The Dictator was promoted as if it was the Borat or Bruno film, where it's the character, and he's being interviewed and he's in character.
So when Grimsby came out, I had no interest because it just looked like another one of those type of things, even down to he plays a exaggerated character type who's stuck in a spy espionage thriller political situation, just like with Ali G, just like with The Dictator. And there's serious actors who are playing off of him. We have, Michael Gambon in Ali G. We had Ben Kingsley as the antagonistic force in The Dictator. And then we have Mark Strong in this. And I was just I'm not doing it. I'm not falling for that. And over the years, I've just learned more about this movie, like behind the scenes controversies, infamous scenes from it, that when I saw it last night, I was like, I already know this scene because it's the talked about scenes. But I just was not prepared for how much of a traditional action spy film this was leaning towards rather than the comedy. So that's why I mentioned that, because I think if I watched it again, I would be more acclimatized to the sensibilities, because I think I'm just out of pace with this movie because it leaned in the direction I wasn't expecting it to go in, and I can't tell you if that's good or bad, because from this director's work, he's good at that stuff, but from this actor-writer, it's not what I'm wanting. So that's where I'm at when it comes to history and expectations.
Yeah, it was very weird, like, when you get Mark Strong's introduction scene, and it is just, like, the first action scene of, like, a spy action film.
With very little jokes.
Yeah. It was, like, completely different sensibilities.
So, you recommended this. Tell us a bit about your process and your history.
Sure. So I, just like you, I really loved a lot of Sacha Baron Cohen's works. Since seeing Borat, the first Borat film, I learned about him in 2006 when he released Borat. I went back, watched the Ali G show, Ali G in the House, and then eventually Bruno came out. So I was really into Sacha Baron Cohen. Even The Dictator, like, I didn't like it as much as all the other stuff, but I was like, oh yeah, I had an alright time with it. And I did like Ali G in the House as well. Last year when we did it on the podcast, I kind of, realized I didn't like it as much anymore. So when Grimsby was being advertised back in 2015, 2016, it was a new Sacha Baron Cohen film, so I was excited to see it. And I was actually looking forward to when it would come out so I could go and see it. And then just for some reason, I missed out on the window. I guess I was just distracted by life or something.
The podcast.
Yeah,
you were too busy doing Thunderpants.
Yeah. So I just completely missed it. I'm like, oh, damn, I missed it. And I just never got around to watching it again. And obviously over the years, I didn't keep that interest in it, but I always remembered, like, oh yeah, I missed that one. I wonder what, it would have been like. And since we did Ali G in the House and looking back on some of this stuff, like, yeah, the scripted stuff is nowhere near as good as the mockumentary stuff. But I just had that curiosity, and then we had, films that came out during this time, and I even made the joke last week about how, we've been doing good stuff. It's like, all the fingers are just pointing to Grimsby, aren't they?
So even with that statement, though, I just want to say, like, when you said last week, we've been doing good movies, the indication being you and your heart know that this isn't a good movie and or is a bad film. Like, did you know that? Did you feel that, or was that like a perception of this movie that you understood before even getting to see it?
I wasn't fully committed to the idea that I would, dislike this film, but I thought to myself, like, after discussion of Ali G in the House, thinking back, I'm like, oh, would I like The Dictator if I rewatched it again? I was like, I'm probably this isn't going to work on me, but I still need to be sure.
I know for a fact that Grimsby is kind of more of, I think, out of the three. Well, Ali G is always going to be a big deal because it was his first one where he brought the character to the big screen.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's had the staying power that it may have in comparison to, Borat obviously is the big one, Bruno's the second one, and then I think Ali G's kind of gone down, even though I think the character's still big. But when I think people talk about the character, they're talking about the interviews. They're talking about not the movie. But
for sure.
I think that Grimsby has a cult following. I do believe that this one has a very half-half reception of people either love it or hate it type deal. And I'm not surprised by that because I must admit that I did not like this movie. I did not find it very funny. However, I saw a lot of the merits to it. I could see on paper what it's trying to do, but I kept squinting going, if you just moved things to the left, you would be fine. Or if you just focused in on this thing, you'd be better. But it had that real unappreciated masterpieces sensibility in which I'm like, I can imagine a 14-year-old watching this and it's just such a blast. Like, wow, look at all this crazy stuff. And there's just so much, effort put in to the set pieces themselves and just some of the like absolute audacity of these comedic moments. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't laugh a single time during the movie. I was just watching it blankly. I wanted to laugh. I love Sacha Baron Cohen as a comedic performer. I love Mark Strong. This is the first time we've done a movie with Mark Strong in it on our podcast, which seems somehow impossible because he's in every movie ever and he's always excellent. We have so many great people. Isla Fisher's in this movie. That was a pleasant surprise. They were married. Her and Sacha Baron Cohen were married at the time, but I still wasn't expecting her to be here. There's so many things going in this movie's favor, but it did not win me over. But it does have just that rough around the edges in a good way thing where I am like, look, I think if this movie came out 8 years earlier, it probably would have been a bigger success, because could you imagine how good this movie would have been if you rented it from a video rental store or whatever? It's that type of movie that should exist there.
It's the kind of film that, I didn't love it either, but I think if I watched it with my stepbrother, like, I'd have a better time with it.
Yeah.
Just, this is the type of film that I would watch with him, and, like, I could just, turn my brain off, as they say.
Yeah, so tell me a bit more about your experiences. Obviously, you recommended it. You even had a sense of, like, this may not work for me, but...
It's funny, like, the big draw for this was, it's the Sacha Baron Cohen film. I need to watch it for Sacha Baron Cohen, and I walked out of it being like, I kind of liked all the stuff without him in it. Mm-hmm. Like, I was really surprised that most of the stuff with, like, the child actors I enjoyed, like, just children, saying inappropriate things. There's a couple of, like, running gags with the kids where, like, there's that one that has, like, the, ball inside the sock that he beats people with. There's the two kids that always have, like, a wheelchair up high that they can drop on someone.
Yeah.
And all of the flashbacks with, like, the two brothers as kids, like, we were talking before about how the film puts away its comedy sensibility to become like a spy action film. Like, when it goes to those, like, they're still, like, saying bad language and all that. But there is, like, actual pathos there that actually kind of worked on me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so Sacha Baron Cohen is such a fascinating figure. Like, he's a larger than life character. Everything about him is so exuberant. Like, he's this physically intimidating guy. Like, he's super tall, and he's a shapeshifter. Like, he can just change into this, change into that. And I think the immediate downfall of Grimsby for me, and I had this with The Dictator as well, the character he's playing doesn't feel real in any way, even in a caricature comedic sense. Like, when he puts on the Borat attire, he inhabits that. When he puts on the Bruno attire, he inhabits that. He brings something to it. While with Nobby, it honestly felt like, and again, we are Australian, okay? So take this into consideration. It felt like to me he has never been to the north of England before. This feels like a, privileged little English boy who's looking up north and being like, I could make a joke about them. And it feels so inauthentic. It doesn't feel true and lived in to me, even in a satire spoof over the top way. And he feels disinterested in this character. Like, to me, I had no buy-in with him as Nobby. I just didn't think he had any unique touch with this character, while with the others that are big, he does. And with The Dictator, I felt that way too. Like, in the actual movie of The Dictator, I felt like there was nothing there. But in the press tour, it's like, he found the character in the press tour, but that wasn't in the movie. Well, with Nobby, he didn't do that with Nobby. He didn't go, like, out and about in the same way.
The first 15 minutes of this film are really bizarre, because it feels like he's fast-forwarding through all of that character's stuff to get to the part where he meets his brother. Like, the first thing we see of him is he's having sex with his girlfriend, and the punchline is like, it's a bed inside a shop, and, like, they're like, we'll take it. And then the second scene is them taking something upstairs in his house, and
the mattress.
Yeah, the mattress, and we have him with all these kids talking about, like, this is my brother's room, I'm keeping it that way for him, and he, like, there's a shot of him, like, in full of happiness looking at the camera.
Very sentimental.
Yeah, and it's like, we jumped from, like, short scene that's all a gag to like immediately going into this plot. Then we have the stuff with Mark Strong, and then the third thing we see of him is, in the pub, like, oh, we found your brother, you have to go to this thing. And then the next scene is him at the party, like doing gags where like, oh, I'm fingers, a dick in this cardboard cutout, and watching the game and saying and reacting to the game, but it's inappropriate when in the context of who's giving a speech. And it's like we had like a sprinkle of plot and all these gags, and like we haven't had time for this character to breathe. I'm thinking back to Ali G into House and how that film started. And, we start with a dream sequence where Ali G, and it's an extensive dream sequence of like action tropes. Yeah. We have time to learn about the character where it's like, oh, here's his home life with his nan. And then him at the community center, establishing his place in this world. And then how he gets in on the main plot. And it's like, even that film, like the first one where it's the scripted comedy, is fleshing out the character more.
And it's doing it through filmmaking, because Ali G into House may not be for me, but the film itself, the filmmaking, the visual storytelling, the gags, the language, all of that is the character of Ali G himself. So that way, when he then splashes into the world of politics, you see how it literally changes politics, changes the politicians, where they start to speak like there's a humor there. And in this movie, it's called Grimsby. Okay? It's called The Brothers Grimsby. It's called Grimsby.
Yeah, it's a location that they live in.
It's not set in Grimsby. This movie's not about Grimsby. We don't spend time there. I don't get to know Grimsby. I don't get to know the characters that live there. I don't get to know any of it. My expectations, this is no joke, I knew the plot was he meets up with his brother who's an MI6 agent, and there's some kind of espionage plot. But it's in Grimsby. Like, it's called Grimsby. You see all the promotional stuff. It's like he's, a Noel Gallagher, like his Gallagher brother type. He's into football, all of that. And I assumed, and I still think this is a better plot, that, they're the most wanted people from all of these from all these different groups, but they hide out in Grimsby because it's such a shithole. No one would think to look there. And in so doing, him and his brother start to bond and get into comedy hijinks with the community, with the town, with the sport of football, with all these people in Grimsby. But instead, the movie's like, no. And even down to, this is actually pathetic and true, they didn't even film in Grimsby because they didn't think to do it. They literally say in the trivia, they did not film in Grimsby, they filmed here. And the reason they didn't film in Grimsby wasn't because they weren't given permission or anything. They didn't think it was important. And that to me says that that's what I mean by inauthentic. This doesn't feel like a guy who actually thinks about the north of England. Like, we are both Australian. We obviously don't have this connection to that thing. However, we have seen movies enough to understand it. A movie that immediately popped into my mind was, okay, let me do you have any guesses, or do you want to hear me pitch a movie that popped into my mind about like north of England hijinks?
Let's hear it.
So, a movie that is a genre pastiche set in a northern England town that is a comedy with comedy titans in it. The lead being an elite, awesome, high-octane action hero cop type, forced to hide out or forced to be in a small, sleepy town in the north, and stumbles across all of these kooky characters. It's called Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. I can watch from that movie, I can understand the satire of the culture up there and all the kooky characters that you meet up there, but there's not only taking the piss out of them, there's an affection for those characters. This movie doesn't even want to be interested in that. It just wants to do what you said. Go to the plot. Cut straight through all of the cut straight through all the stuff that you would want, including the character stuff about Nobby himself and all of this, to get to the next thing that you get to in your script. And why even bother hiring all of these comedy actors? Like, everyone in Grimsby are comedy greats of England. They don't even have lines. Like, barely have lines. Like, one of them's like a guy that was in Game of Thrones at the time. I don't think he had a single line in the movie.
Basically, it's just like a crowd of like characters.
Faceless fat people, that's it.
Yes, there's probably continuity between like, oh yeah, they're always in the crowd, but yeah, you don't really get a sense of them. Like, again, I'm thinking actually back on Ali G into House, and like, yeah, the location of Staines and how that kind of changes, throughout the film. Like, that was more prominent there. It's the gang. East Stain's massive, West Stain's massive. You hear about it all the time. You're always there, basically.
You have Martin Freeman, representing them even when Ali G is straying from the path.
Yeah, he's got his group of like 3 friends, including Martin Freeman, that are throughout the film, and they join him on his little trips. And yeah, that Ali G in the house is doing a lot of things that this film should have done.
Yeah, this movie, it doesn't want to do the thing that it's saying on the tin. It just wants to do the typical things that you do in an action spy film, and then you just throw profanity on top of it. They never, in my opinion, coalesced. They never bake in together. Like you do with Hot Fuzz, for instance, where Hot Fuzz is like, there comes a point in Hot Fuzz where it's like, oh, this isn't just taking the piss out of Michael Bay action movies, it's legitimately becoming a Michael Bay action movie while still being this heartfelt bro movie, this, interesting commentary on the north of England and this comedy film, like it's doing all of it. It can do all of it, and it all comes together. Another film I thought of that I'm doubtful you have seen, but it's a great movie. It's called The Guard. With Brendan Gleeson teamed up with Don Cheadle, and the bad guy's Mark Strong. So that's kind of fun. But that's a great one too, where it's like, Brendan Gleeson's like this he's just this lowly, guard cop, like loser. He's just cynical, and he's teamed up with Don Cheadle, the American outsider who's like, I'm the best of the best, I'm the FBI, CIA, whatever, and they're forced to engage in a plot together. But it's a comedy movie with like a duo nature.
Sounds good.
This movie, I'm sorry, Mark Strong's great, Sacha Baron Cohen's great, but neither them as actors nor their characters make for a good duo. They exist in scenes together.
Yeah, all of the stuff that I liked with Mark Strong was kind of just him, responding to, the context that he's in. Like, when he's brought to Nobby's home and it's looking like it's becoming the film that you thought it was going to be, his little reactions to seeing the basically wall of photos of him and like realizing the life that his brothers had and like showing some sympathy towards his wife and his kids. There was like actual pathos there, and I was getting into that kind of stuff, but yeah, it wasn't really so much the response between like 2 actors going at each other.
No, it's just the film has constructed an emotionally manipulative scene. Whether I'm not saying that is negative, it's just that it is an emotionally manipulative scene.
Yeah, it's a filmmaking.
And then coasts on that to be like, see, we have pathos, so that means that this movie has depth. But no, dude, like I compare this to the most Adam Sandler. This is such an Adam Sandler type movie where it's like,
I did think about Adam Sandler.
You have like this flimsy, amoral, ruthlessly provocative, whatever type movie, like Little Nicky or something. But then you just bang on with some kind of wince-inducing, sentimental speech at the end that makes it so like, oh, all of this stuff we've done before actually is meaningful. Like, Nobby gives a speech about how we're all scum and isn't that brilliant and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, oh, so that kind of, I guess, smooths out all of the clearly just sketches stringed together that this movie is. It's just a series of sketches stringed together. Not very good sketches either, because they're also punctuated by they're just action scenes with the sketch also thrown in.
And a lot of those action scenes are very shaky cam and
CG. Green screen, yeah, it's a whole thing. What are some of your takes on the movie? I'm being very harsh on it, but what are some things that leapt out to you, positive or negative, or did you feel the same or different?
No, I'm pretty similar to you. There, you mentioned before you didn't laugh at anything. I think I maybe had a bunch of little chuckles, but it was mostly like at the audacity of things.
Yeah,
like the climax of the film. The big plot that we find out is that there's going to be the big football game that Nobby's been wanting to go to the whole movie.
The World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, World Cup. Yeah, you may have heard of it. And the philanthropist villain is going to, eject a huge amount of poison that's going to kill off all of the useless people, the people like Nobby and his friends. And the way that they solve this is like, oh, we need to make those two missiles that have the poison like explode inside our asses. And the audacity of that, because there was a scene earlier in the film where they watched part of a clip from the South Park movie.
Yes.
I was just thinking like, oh man, this is like a Trey Parker, Matt Stone kind of, climactic gag that like I would expect from, like a Terrence and Philip sketch that they would do, or alternatively, and this is kind of not against this film, like when you're watching a thing and someone like turns on TV and they're watching like a fake show, and you see like an out of context clip that gives you an idea of this whole thing, like that's what this ending felt like.
Yeah. Isn't there a gag in South Park of what's his name? Like the really, really gay guy who's like in the BDSM outfit, and he's
Mr. Slave.
and he swallows someone up his asshole.
I think it's Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton. That's that gag. You're talking about that gag.
Yeah, something on that level.
But that works because it's animation as well as and it's funny animation.
Yeah, and it's the absurdity of the series as well.
Yeah, so you're finding like you did have some chuckles, but it was more from just the wow they went there. Type of stuff.
Yeah, that, and I did say before that a lot of the stuff with the kids I did find funny.
Oh yeah,
but not to like a huge extent that I'm like, oh, this was a great comedy film.
And how much of that, not to denigrate these kids, but like how much of that is just like, oh wow, a kid said that, a kid did that type humor. Like,
yeah, that's what
kids say the darndest things.
That's what I'm grappling with too, and that's why I brought up before, like, oh, at least there's like some continuity with them in terms of like, some of these kids have this specific thing.
I don't know if I'm just too against. I mean, again, like I don't mind Sacha Baron Cohen as an actor, but when it comes to these types of scripts, he lacks all of that true edge and bite and satire and knowledge of like making fun of the thing. He just does the things, and then he just is like, oh, if I just add a bunch of shit and dick and sex jokes on top of it, that's satire in itself. And you have to be real skilled at that. And even then, sometimes it is hard to gauge. Like we did Freddy Got Fingered on this podcast, and Freddy Got Fingered is 10 times more than this movie is. Like in terms of like its attitude. Like to me, what really sinks it is, oh, you want to have a scene where they get inside of an elephant's vagina and they get fucked and they have to make the elephant come and all of that. But then you genuinely have sentiment afterwards. While in Freddy Got Fingered, they whack off an elephant and then he has the, in quotations, sentimental moment where he's reconnecting with his father.
Yeah, while they're still covered in the jizz.
And Tom Green is playing it like a psychopath where he's got his eyes bugged up and he's like, that's right, Dad, I whacked. In this movie, Sacha Baron Cohen flips the switch and goes into maudlin. It's so inauthentic. Here's how bad it is. Nobby has a beer belly, he's got a gut.
Yeah.
It changes from scene to scene because it's not real, and Sacha Baron Cohen doesn't have that. And there are several scenes where we've seen with his shirt off, and Sacha Baron Cohen is actually fit in real life. There are several moments where they just show glory shots of Sacha Baron Cohen's developing six-pack, and I'm like, you can't even decide with that.
See, that went over my head, but when he had the suit on, when, his brother had the heroin, he had to do the mission for him, I was like, man, he's really slim in that suit. Where's the beer belly from the poster?
Exactly. It's not consistent because it gets in the way. Yeah, it's just like you want to have the audacity, but the attitude of the movie is fairly safe overall. Like, yeah, you can have the elephant scene, you can have the scene where he has sex with like the sex with the maid, or the toilet scene with the poo in there. Don't even see the poo. Like that's the type of thing where it's like, yeah, those are things that are, oh, how could they do such a thing? But the attitude of the movie isn't anarchic in itself. Like this movie feels very sweet in its sentiment, and I'm like, why? Like okay.
Was Ali Jean House also an American co-production, or was that one all British?
I can't recall.
Because I know that with this one, that's the reason why I do it in my cycle. I was going to recommend this when I did another round, but I'm like, oh shit, it's actually American co-production, so I have to wait for my American pick.
So, what else do you want to talk about in relation with this movie?
I I think this is the first time that we've done Rebel Wilson film on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, in all fairness, she hasn't done as much, but she still has done stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say about Rebel Wilson?
She's Australian.
Local?
She's Australian like us.
Yeah,
So we feel ourselves in this film by watching her be a North English person.
we feel ourselves in this film.
Yeah, we feel connected to this film.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so what do you want to say about Rebel Wilson?
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of her outside of, the Australian TV show Pizza. I think I saw a few best. Oh, that was Australian as well.
Yeah.
Is this the first thing I've seen?
She was in Jojo Rabbit. I don't think you've seen that.
I know she was in the Ghost Rider film, but that was filmed in Melbourne.
Yeah. She's from Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a local. We've grown up with and seen her career blossom. Like, Pizza is a staple of Australian comedy. It's a mega comedy TV franchise. There's so many offshoots of it. And so to think that somehow that would be a show that would spring a Hollywood star, like, 'cause she's in Hollywood movies, like no one else is getting that from Fat Pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that is an interesting thing in itself. Rebel Wilson is one of those people who, when she did stuff in Australia, she played weirdos. I'm weird. I'm playing a weird person and being fat. And then when she went to Hollywood, she did that too. She capitalized on that and she did her thing. And I'm indifferent about Rebel Wilson as a comedy person. I've found her funny in things. I've found her unfunny in things. She's been believable to me. She's been unbelievable to me. And so when she was cast in this movie, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I can see that. And I gross out humor. I'm sure Sacha Baron Cohen will make that a whole thing. Why even cast her, man? She gets nothing to do. She has one scene, really.
Yeah,
the scene where she enters into the house and they have their sexy time. And that's the only thing she gets of note. The rest of the time, she is just the girl.
Yeah, she's
the token woman of the movie.
Yeah, she's fairly highly billed, and she does have a couple of scenes, but it's really just that one scene where she's in the focus. Like the opening scene where he's having sex in the shop, you barely see who it is really.
Yeah.
And then other than that one scene where she is the focus, she's just one of the crowd basically.
Completely thankless. And I ask this, why did you cast her? Why did you cast Johnny Vegas as one of the people from Grimsby? Why did you cast Ian McShane in this movie as the head of the MI6? Uncredited, by the way, Ian McShane. He didn't want credit on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was one of the highly billed people in it.
No, you go to IMDb, he's uncredited. You have to go all the way down.
Okay.
Why is he in this movie? He filmed it all in one day. That's what it looks like. He's in that one set, and he has probably 15 lines.
He's completely separate from everyone but Isla Fisher.
Isla Fisher probably filmed all of her stuff in maybe 2 days because she goes to another room. But where she does fake hacking, where she clicks her fingers in a way that you could tell she's never had to type before. I love Isla Fisher, but her acting in this movie was iffy because she's acting off no one.
That's true. She's always on the phone with the main characters.
Why cast her as well, other than it's your wife? And Isla Fisher is known for playing what type of characters? Over-the-top comedy characters.
Mm-hmm.
She was in The Wedding Crashers. She was in Scooby-Doo. She's in Tag. She plays these... Why cast her in this? Honestly, why not cast her as the wife character?
I know. I was about to say, just make her,
Because she's not gross
yeah.
to look at. I'm not being mean to Rebel Wilson, but that's the reason. Rebel Wilson is, in quotations, ugly. She's big and fat, and we have to have the joke about that. And that's her career. That's what her career has been.
Yeah, I think I was reading that for one of the Pitch Perfect films, she was contractually obligated to not lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
It was like she was dieting at the time.
Yeah, the character's name is Fat Amy. That you can't not make her fat unless that's the plot point. But In this movie, it's like, yeah, that's it. So you can't have Isla Fisher unless you put her in prosthetics or unless you change the character. And what character is there to change? All the wife character has to her is wife and fat. That's it. If you remove the fat, you got nothing else.
Yeah. I guess horny as well, but...
Oh, yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, for that one scene.
For that one moment, I guess. As horny as Mark Strong is in the movie. You know, like, he's horny too in the same way.
He can't settle for one woman. He says that.
Yeah, Isla Fisher talks to no one other than Ian McShane, who's checked out and looking at his watch and wanting to leave to get lunch. Like, he is so disinterested in being in this movie.
I completely forgot. Yeah, she's meant to be Mark Strong's love interest. They, like, get together at the end.
Yeah.
I completely forgot until I mentioned that one woman line.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like, I want to give some more praises to the movie, but a lot of it comes down to... wow, they did that gross out joke. Can you believe that they did that? And after a certain point, what else is there to say about that? Like, in the movie that's like barely 90 minutes, I just am like, okay, they did another gross out gag. Great. Like, it didn't offend me, didn't gross me out, honestly. I was just like, okay, it's another one. Like, it's the one type of joke that they have. Like, Nobby has no comedic shtick to him other than, like, he is a guy with that haircut and likes football.
Yeah.
And he gets hit a lot.
Yeah. And I guess maybe that's another reason why I was enjoying all the kids stuff, because, like, they weren't doing the gross out stuff with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like one gag I kind of liked and then they ruined it, which is Nobby gets a gun and he starts like effortlessly killing people left, right, and center, and it's like a game to him, like he doesn't really care. And it goes on so long that it kind of gets boring, then kind of gets funny again. But then if you watch to the end of the credits, it's the end credit gag where he like just shoots some random guy, and I'm just like, you shouldn't have brought it back for that.
That was like an outtake too. It was like set like in the middle of the film.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, it was clearly a cut scene.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
Yes.
a cut scene, not an outtake.
Yes. I have to make sure, because this movie could just have outtakes in the credits and you would believe it.
Yeah. It felt like too, like improvised stuff. Like I think even Freddy Got Fingered had some of that. Like we got a bunch of Drew Barrymore songs.
We got a bunch of scenes we never got to see in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark Strong. What do you feel about Mark Strong? You seem very positive on Mark Strong, like he was kind of a guiding light for you in this movie.
Yeah, I think just his stoic attitude helped both the more dramatic stuff and also, gave a bit of commentary about like how a bit of comedy to the fact that he is in absurd situations, like, when he's being brought back to Grimsby and like he's just looking around, seeing familiar sights, things like that. When you're at the train station, flashing back and then, seeing this dramatic thing like, oh, when my brother abandoned me. And then there's just him looking down his brother like, come on, let's go, as if nothing ever happened, as if he didn't just go through this whole memory thing. But again, that goes back to what you were saying before about how, this is just filmmaking, like emotionally manipulating stuff.
He is good as a comedic straight man because he has that stoicism and anger in his line deliveries. He's so fed up during the movie that he says the absolute craziest, most absurd shit, but he says it with like proper thespian acting.
Yeah, like the pre-cum thing.
Yes. It was just pre-ejaculate at best. And things like that is very funny, or just like when they're having to whack off the elephant and all of that. He's like, I'm working the shaft. All of these things are... because he's a really good actor in that way. But even then, like, it got tiring for me. I'm just like, okay, Mark Shepard's going to come in and be portrayed as a genuine badass.
Strong.
No, sorry, Mark Shepard. I keep doing this. Mark Strong. I wish it was Mark Shepard in the movie too. Mark Strong's going to come in and be a proper badass. And again, this movie came out after The Kingsman. That's another film that is basically the same. Like, that basically takes this premise as well of what happens if you took an unassuming type of person in England and threw them into a James Bond plot. And Mark Strong is there too. And the villain wants to take out certain types of people with a super weapon in the movie. And that villain's played by like an A-list actor. Because this is Penelope Cruz, and that one had Samuel L. Jackson. Penelope Cruz, I'm sorry, as soon as you see her in the movie, like, oh, you're obviously the villain, you're not going to be anyone else, because you wouldn't cast
you're a big name.
And you have a villain haircut in this movie. She brought the real Antonio Banderas in Uncharted energy to this movie, where it's just like, I'm playing a nothing villain. I'm going to ham it up. I'm going to lean into my accent more than ever. This had big Uncharted energy, the film. Like, it had that same aesthetic. It leaned into the action. But instead of, like, the dynamic in Uncharted, no, have that exact same dynamic almost, but just throw in gross out humor on top. And there's, it's just that kind of film. It's soulless, it's empty, and doesn't have any real heart to it, even though it tries to by doing the Adam Sandler approach to sentimentality, which is just to say that we have it, and you go, well, I like children, so when I see children cry, I feel sad. Like... When I see them giving each other the teary eye and say, we're scum and proud, I go, yeah, I'm scum. I don't know, man. This was just a real letdown for me because...
When I see the kid knock out Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
I cry.
Yeah, and then I cry. But yeah, there's just something about that. I'm let down, even though I knew I wasn't going to like this movie, because the pieces are there. Unlike with The Dictator, I didn't feel like the pieces were there for that movie. I'm just like, oh... this character in this type of movie just does not gel. But like this all here, I feel like it just doesn't want to do the movie that's clearly waiting to be made out of this.
Yeah, there's obvious stuff that you can do that you've kind of set up even, but you're just not doing it.
So what are your opinions on Sacha Baron Cohen overall? How are you feeling about him as an artist, as a man, as a figure? Because I think, there's two schools of thought on him of like, he's a really smart, intellectual, really cutting edge guy, and that he's just a childish provocateur, not all that graceful of a man. Like, there are people who love him and hate him that can have both of those opinions at the same time, but the people who hate him have one opinion, people who like him have the other. How do you feel?
I'm more in the former camp. I really do like him a lot. He, seeing him, in the films that I do like where he's doing the mockumentary stuff, but even seeing him in interviews talking about the process, the things that he went through to do all that. Like, I like Borat 2. I don't love it, but I love hearing him talk about Make Borat 2. Just, the stories of the people that he had to live with for a while and, like, pretend that he was Borat the whole time. The like rally that he went to where he like got everyone on his side, and even when they were like shitting on him before, like, he does not represent us, it's like, well, you're being hypocritical right now because of what I just saw there. And even just talking about like the process of finding like the perfect actress, Maria Bakalova, to play his daughter, and like the real bond that they formed in terms of like applying his comedic characterization sensibilities to her own characterization. Like, we really nailed it with finding Maria Bakalova. It does lead itself to him coming off as this very intelligent, satirical comedy creator.
I'm mixed. I think that's all true, but I think he is like that in a specific context. As a creative force, he's intelligent in that specific type of context.
Yeah.
I don't like him, I think, as a creative voice or an artist or a man overall, the more I learn about him. And I really do think Grimsby is a weird chapter in his career that's kind of rippled out in ways over the course of things, because we mentioned Rebel Wilson. One of the big sticking points we have to talk about, if you don't already know, is Rebel Wilson had a miserable time on this set, and she's accused or proposed some certain accusations against Sacha Baron Cohen being inappropriate when they were working on this movie, and like suggesting things to go further and like pushing for more nudity and more sex and and all this kind of inappropriate stuff. Even, some statements that sound outlandish, but then Sacha Baron Cohen, if you know his work, you're like, actually that doesn't sound that absurd from the guy who did the nude wrestling in Borat.
Yeah, a lot of the statements I was reading was him referencing that, like, oh yeah, it'll be like this funny scene from Borat.
Yeah, exactly. And that feels very like interesting to me, because I think a part of what puts me off is I think he has the veneer of this stuff you're talking about, but I think deep down He wants it to be, what's the next gross thing I can do? What's the next hot button I can push? What's the next this, rather than like anything grander? And the grander stuff kind of forms from that. But I really do think it is like, what's the next target I can pick on? What's the next thing I can do? And I don't care about the whole argument of like, is he punching down or not? I just think that his sensibilities when it comes to his own work is, I need the elephant vagina scene. That's why Grimsby exists, is for that scene alone. Everything else, whatever. I need a scene of Mark Strong getting his testicles out so I can suck on him. I need a scene in which you see my asshole. That's what I think he's more interested in than any of the things we've talked about themes, character, community, commentary, about anything. I think he's much more interested in that overall. And so I look at him and I'm kind of disinterested in him. Like, when I hear of what he's doing in his other movies, I'm like, yeah, he's doing his thing. And I'm interested in some ways because of the things you're talking about, but I'm also just like, yeah, but I also know that it's kind of like a means to get to said other things that I'm just tired of seeing from him, because I know in my heart he's an intelligent guy, is a very articulate guy, but he's also just still doing this shit, but it feels like with less and less of a purpose as the decades have marched on. Like, Grimsby, what's the target here? Like, what's he skewering? Spy movies? Does it really feel like he's done that in a way that no one, like, that only he could do? Like, we've done Johnny English. Okay, like, you know, Rowan Atkinson brought his specific style to what you do. Sacha Baron Cohen doesn't even bring his specific style truly to this. He's just half-hearted, like, yeah, I've got to have the big scenes, but other than that, like, does this pay off what you want from a Sacha Baron Cohen is in a James Bond type story? It's
funny, going back to the whole thing about like, oh, they're actually like doing like genuine action stuff in this film. Like, I thought walking in that it was just going to be the comedy coming from the contrast of, you know, the soccer hooligan and the MI6 spy. Not that, there was going to be this kind of like genuine spy thriller story going on. Thriller in quotes, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Yeah, is this and The Dictator some of the stuff that he like lauds as like the top of his creations though?
No, I think he knows it's Borat. I think he can't escape that. Hence,
just
Borat
like,
2 exists.
Yeah, but even just like the general like mockumentary stuff, like surely that's the stuff that, you know, he holds to the highest degree of his work.
I imagine. I don't know. He's a complex guy because over the years he's become a very weird person. Like, he's leaned into Zionism way more than he already had. I mean, that's a given, but he's ultra Zionist. Him and Isla Fisher have divorced, and all of the stuff that comes from that, a lot of stuff she's saying is stuff that Rebel Wilson had said, and like all these things where, you know, just he is that guy off camera too. You know, he's that guy. And he's done this thing that's so pathetic in a way. He's in Marvel now. You know, he's in the MC. He's going to be in an MCU show. I think he is in one. He plays like a devil character.
Okay.
And he did the thing that they do when they hire men to do that. He's like got an 8-pack and he's shredded and like he's going through that midlife crisis type thing from the bird's eye view here of like, now I've got my hair done like this. I'm hot now. So if you look up Sacha Baron Cohen nowadays, he's trying to do that thing. He's trying to become a Chris Pratt, where you're the ugly, funny guy who now is being launched off into this, and it's like kind of pathetic to be like, when you hear Sacha Baron Cohen in the MCU, are you thinking what I'm describing? Probably not.
Yeah, when you first said that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But then when you were describing, you know, the change he's going through, I started getting some chills in the back of my spine a little bit.
He seems like a bit of a odd character in real life. But, you know, back to Grimsby, does it feel at the end of the day he has any real thing to say with the character of Nobby, the setting of Grimsby, just any of this stuff like he did with when he does Borat or Ali G? And I think the answer is no.
No, I don't think this is a satire at all.
Is this his worst character? like, you know, of his characters that he plays, like not like of these type of projects he does. Is this the worst one?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, our introduction to this character is fast forwarding to get to plot.
He didn't even get the haircut in real life. It's just a wig, and it never not looks like it too.
Yeah,
it never
you're right,
looks
you're
real.
right.
He didn't even grow the sideburns himself. They're just stick-ons. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like he needs to grow the Borat mustache all the time, but at the same time, you knew it was real at some point.
Yeah,
too.
I think the Ali G beard was fake.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know, that adds to the character at least.
I don't have anything else to say about Grimsby. It's just one of those things where it's just like, do you want to talk about the scene where he did this disgusting thing? Do you want to talk about the other scene where he did a disgusting thing? What about the scenes in between that? Oh, they're really boring, so you don't really discuss those.
But there's some kids in them, so I like them.
And Rebel Wilson's standing there to the side, not allowed to be funny.
With a couple of other no-name... Well, some of them had names. The guy that worked in, like, the fish factory.
Yeah. There's this moment where they have an antagonist. They dare to have an antagonist.
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
the movie.
The big assassin guy, right?
He's just some dude. He's not like
Chilcott or something.
They keep mentioning like he's so scared. He's just some guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Here's another movie I'd recommend to people. You know, it's an oddball pick. Just watch From Paris with Love. You know? The John Travolta movie. If you're wanting like, you know, like a weird take on this type of criminal espionage, blah, blah, blah type thing with a mad performance at the center of it, that's like an obvious character, watch that. John Travolta's great in that. Like, I kept thinking of that movie too, like this brash character. Like, in that he's playing the brash American, but it works because he is a brash American. Like, John Travolta is a brash American.
Yeah, that's a good one to point out.
Like, this is a movie where I just kept saying, just focus and you could crack the code. It's not that difficult because you've got all of the things here, but you don't do it, so I'm left annoyed.
Yeah, and you've kind of done it in previous films.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't recommend Grimsby. I can see the appeal. Like, I've said all of this negative stuff, but like I stated at the beginning, I do see the stuff that other people could get out of this, but I did not, because I kept noticing that the film wasn't really grabbing the bull by the horns.
Maybe I would have liked it if I saw it in the cinema with my stepbrother, but yeah, it didn't work for me. I don't recommend it either, but in an alternate universe where we did this on Unappreciated Masterpieces, it's great. Check it out.
I would have loved the IMDb reviews for this.
Oh.
Where there's people from Grimsby writing in about how they didn't film there, so fuck this movie and things like that.
And Tyler Lee Jewell wants to get in contact with, I don't know, Isla Fisher.
Why even call it Grimsby? If you're not even going to do anything with it. Like, I keep saying, why do this? And the answer is because they didn't.
Weirdly enough, I guess the American title makes more sense where they put brothers.
Yeah, the brothers is more important.
Yeah. And that goes back to like the lines they were saying in the flashbacks. We're the fucking Grimsby boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the film about
We're the Butcher Boys.
Yeah.
They say.
I think even the poster is just like Sacha Baron Cohen and two women, right?
Oh, I've seen one where it's Sacha Baron Cohen and Mark Strong jumping out of an exploding building.
Yeah, the only one I've seen is this one here, where it's
I've never seen that.
Him in a bathrobe.
I've never seen that
with
poster.
Rebel Wilson to one side and the fat cleaning lady from the hotel.
Yeah, she was the actress who played Precious in the film Precious.
I thought that was her.
Yeah, she's had an interesting career. But that is it from us in regards to this. It is my time to recommend a movie for the next episode of the podcast.
Could you possibly pick a better film than Grimsby, though?
I have to say, I've been on a bit of a run lately of picking films.
I think I joked the other day, like, what French film have you picked? And I think you were like,
I've picked a French film with a one-word title that has sex in it. It's called Climax.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone,
we're going to
be watching the film Climax, which I've not seen before, but I've been meaning to see. It's it's a film that is best described as Panic Attack the movie, so get ready for that.
Cool. I think there's a film that I want to recommend at some point that I think you've described as being that.
I was very kind because I must say, when I was watching the movie, I was like, fucking Bartek.
This movie?
This movie. I was like, fucking
Grimsby.
Bartek. How could you do this to me? What did I do wrong? Like, there was so many
You
moments.
said that
where
last episode.
I was like, why are you spiting me? I haven't done anything. I don't do this to you. And I was thinking, what could I throw at Bartek that would do this? And I'm like, I know this is hard for people to believe for some reason, just because I guess I just exude a certain attitude. I genuinely find it a difficult time to pick movies as a spite thing to other people.
Yeah.
People think that I just can do that because I just have tastes in certain movies. Like, we have other friends in real life, and podcasting peers, where they think like, oh, here goes Ryan again. Like, he recommended this thing. You know, we've had movie nights with some of your friends and whatever, and even before the movie I put on, there's a little bit of an attitude. And then when the movie's good, I'm like, I choose fun movies or interesting movies. Or
Ryan's
something.
never picked like a troll film or anything like that.
And if we do, we all know we're here to go to watch good bad movies. Like, we're going to watch a Neil Breen movie.
Like,
we're going to watch Troll 2. Like, you know what I mean?
You've never recommended a film for Pictures Powwow, and sometimes, on occasion, I don't like them, but I've never been like, oh, Ryan, how could you have done this?
And even when we did, and of course, when we did unappreciated masterpieces, I would often choose them, the films, and I would always choose ones where I'm like, no, I think there's genuinely something here, even of ones that I hadn't seen before, which was quite a lot. And I think I struck gold many times, but there's why I say all of this is, I was just like, is this what people think of me? That they have to punish me with this? And then I'm like, what can I throw? And I'm like, I literally I could think of one movie, and I'm not doing it because I would suffer too, which is a movie that has had one, and Bartek knows what I'm going to say when I finish the sentence, a movie that I have that I've seen that has had a 100% track record of ending friendships. Ready Player One. Oh boy, like, I could have just said, Bartek, friendship is going to end now. It's time to watch Ready Player One. I've had a successful streak where that's ended friendships, in which I saw that movie with a friend, I didn't like it, and then they phoned me up a week later saying that they didn't want to see me anymore because I was too rude about that movie. And I'm like, well,
Ryan didn't even like the film.
I didn't like the movie.
Ryan was the one that didn't like it and ended friendship because
it ended the friendship because I didn't like it and I was too rude about it. And by the way, I wasn't that rude about it.
Ryan, I promise you right now, I will never end a friendship with you over a film.
Okay, you say that, but get prepared for Nicholas Winding Refn movie in the future where you get tested about that.
Hey man, I watched The Neon Demon twice for 2 different podcasts.
I know.
Partially because of you, and I'm still...
And you still were like...
I'm still friends with you.
Yeah, exactly, but...
If you had poison in your testicles...
You would suck it out.
Well, let's just say I don't want you to die.
There you go. Thank you all so much for listening along, hearing just autopsy it felt of this cadaver of a movie, Grimsby. But Bartek, how about you tell everyone where we can be found and what else they can do?
Sure. So what you can do is listen to more episodes, but where? You can listen to them basically anywhere, because we upload onto podbean.com and that gets put on all the different platforms, and we also put them on YouTube. So just look up Spit and Polish Presents, maybe even chuck our names in the search and you'll find it. If you want to contact us, you can do that on either Twitter, Facebook. We're both Spit and Polish Presents on that. You can email us directly at the email that's in the description for this file. /place on the internet you found it, and that is spitandpolished@gmail.com.
Thank you again for listening. Rate, review, share, comment, subscribe. All of those things, as stated, would greatly be appreciated. We would be thankful if you did that. But until next time, listening people, remember to be kind to each other, or else there'll be an elephant bukkake.
Yeah, there was a part in Who is America where they used the word bukkake as well. Maybe Sasha learnt a new word and he liked it.
Or maybe he really wanted everyone else to know that word too, because he used it in Grimsby, and he's like, I think they should all know about this word. Have they heard about this? Have they heard about this?
That was the point of this film. He wanted to introduce this new foreign word to people, and not many people liked the film and remembered, so... To
fully end this on, I just want you to know that Sacha Baron Cohen was not the only writer of the movie. There was another writer.
Yeah, there was.
And this other writer, here's what they've worked on. The Twits. Ralph Breaks the Internet, the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
Zootopia.
Mm-hmm.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, a bunch of Disney.
They also wrote this movie too.
What's The Twits?
The Twits is the adaptation of the Roald Dahl story called The Twits.
Oh, okay.
But it's a kidsy thing. So he has all of those kind of animated kidsy, safe, blockbustery things, and this too. I really do wonder, because you mentioned the American thing, I wonder if this was like the handler that they put on Sasha. He's like, here's how you write a script, and it still didn't work.
He wrote all the kid stuff in this.
He is the guy in Freddy Got Fingered. He's Anthony Michael Hall, where he's the guy that tells Freddy, he's just like, this needs to make sense, all right? What you got here is just fucking stupid. That's this guy.
Yeah.
He's that character.
Yeah. And the half Israeli, half Palestinian kid in this was the kid from Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh, imagine if it was.
Oh, we forgot to mention Donald Trump. He's got AIDS. In the film that we covered, not in real life.
There you go.
Hope that doesn't age poorly.
He died. That's what that mark on his hand is. It's AIDS.